These are Quam Ceiling Speakers. They are from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. We're going to test these things out and see how they sound throughout the decades, see the differences of the speakers throughout the decades, and just see which ones sound better overall. We're going to start with the 70s. This is my only 70s speaker that I have right here. This one was made in 1979. They used to be 6-digit codes, but now they're 7 usually, I believe, maybe sometimes more, I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, the first 3 digits are the manufacturers, so 270 is Quam. Another distinctive feature about Quam speakers are that they have the screws through the magnets. However, they did stop that as they went on. I think the late 90s they quit doing that. But this one is made from 1979, and it is the 11 watt version. This came with a 6-pack from eBay. I believe I got it for about $45, and I think these ones were all from a bar. One of the 6 was blown out, it didn't work, so I just took that one apart and took the magnet off of it. This is the only one that came damaged, as it has a couple spots that it has issues on, which I have repaired using speaker glue. I'll be using my commercial amplifier. It is by Toa, 35 watts. I'll be using the same song throughout so we kind of get the same idea. I'll start low and then turn it higher. To me, I already think it sounds distorted, and it's not even loud. Give it a little bit more volume. Already I think it sounds much worse. Next one I'm going to use will be from the 80s. These 3 are all the same. They all have the same year of manufacture and week of manufacture. These speakers were made in 1980, and all 3 of these are in perfect condition. This is when I first start to notice my first change between the 2 sets of speakers. The 70s version, the cone seems to be softer and has more porous feel to it, and these rings seem to be more pronounced. Whereas in the 80s, they seem to have a smoother cone. It seems stiffer than the other one. The rings in the middle don't seem to be as big in these ones that they did in the other 70s version. And the surround seems to be a little bit bigger than it did on the 70s one. Personally, I think the 70s one has the worst sound out of all of them. But we will try this one from the 80s. And the tab has kind of a little messed up spot, so we'll try this one. And we'll start it off softer and then go louder. I think this one has way better sound than that one from the 70s. No distortion sound at all. Starts to sound a little distorted right now. Still tolerable though. I like the sound these Quam speakers give out. Next one we'll try will be also from the 80s, but a little bit later. This next pair is also from the 80s and also came out of an establishment, and I also bought as a pair from eBay. I believe these came from a shopping center, but these ones came from 1988 in the 28th week of 1988. These are the 20-watt versions, whereas the silverback ones were the 11-watt versions, and these are also a Muzak branded speaker. There's a few more changes that happened now. Again, the paper, I think, is been changed in these, as they went for still a smooth, stiffer cone, but it seems a bit more flexible than this one from the earlier 80s. And with the surround, they also started to put this ring of speaker dope, I believe it's called, around the outside. And these particular ones don't have a whizzer cone, which is weird. But I think these pair are the best sounding out of all the Quam. That's my personal take, but let's hook these ones up and see how they sound. I think these ones have the best bass response. These ones are dusty. These ones also have a transformer. 4 watts is the max this transformer can handle, which I don't know why they would put a 4-watt transformer on a 20-watt speaker. Let's give it a little bit more volume. These are the only speakers of the Quam speakers that'll actually bottom out with too much bass. Like, they'll make a loud pop sound if you turn them too loud. This is about as loud as I can turn it before it will start doing that. And that's to about the point where I think this is the max of these speakers of still sounding good without being distorted. Next up I have two different ones. These are both from the 90s. And one was a Muzak speaker and one was a Quam speaker. They're both the 20 watt version. This particular one is from 1995, I believe. Yes. The 35th week of 1995. And this one is also from the 90s, but from 1999. This is also the same model, exact same model as the one right here from the 80s, the C8M10 version. Some differences of the speakers are, I'll start with this one because it's very similar to the last 80s one that we just saw. The center dust cap is a little bit different. It is no longer rounded, but it is more indented and has a little smaller circle in the middle. The speaker dope has been moved from to the outside ring versus the inside ring. This one also has no whizzer cone. But this also is a Muzak branded speaker, and it is when it begins, I believe this is the year it starts putting no bolts holding the speaker together, the magnet together. So we'll start with this one. This is also a 20 watt speaker, as is this one back here. This speaker is also in perfect condition. The speaker also has a transformer on it. Also only 4 watts maximum for a 20 watt speaker. I think they had this one tapped at some stupidly ridiculous low wattage, like 1/2 watt. Yes, only 1/2 watt they had this speaker tapped at. I got this set in a set of 3. It was this one and those 2. They all came from the same place. That one came from an elementary school here in Kenosha. other one, which is a little bit older, but also from the 90s. This one I think has the next best sound versus the 80s speakers. The ones from 1987, 88. This is the first speaker I have of the Quam series that has a foam edge. And this is the only Quam speaker that I have that has this type of foam edge. Usually they have a smaller foam edge that goes in sharply and then comes back out. I have a few of those in the ceiling in my music room, and that's how those two surround are from 2000s. But first we'll try this one from 1995. This one's also in perfect condition too. Give it a little bit of volume. Going as loud as it can go before it starts to sound like it's getting too much power. Might even be a bit too much now, but still manageable. And the last pair, and then this pair. These speakers were part of this one's set from the same establishment, also Muzak branded speakers. Also the 20 watt version C8 M10 speaker. But the surround on these ones are a little bit different. They go in very sharp there and then connect to the edge. So it's a lot smaller edge than that one. And the speaker terminals are no longer actually speaker tabs. They are soldered directly to the transformer, which is also 4 watts. can't remember the establishment that said these ones came out of. But I think these ones that said were tapped at 4 watts on the transformer leads. Yeah, 4 watts. And the speaker leads are actually soldered right to the voice coil. There's no tinsel leads at all on top of the speaker cover. About to the point where I think these ones start to sound distorted. So there's all the Quam speakers, starting from the 70s all the way to the 2000s. These are both 90s speakers.
You get one guess to guess what we do tonight, yeah.
Which ones did you guys think sounded the best? I thought this was the worst sounding one from the 70s. And I thought the ones from the later 80s right here from 1988 sounded the best right here. I actually think these ones have the most cone movement out of all of them. This one sounds the next best, followed by these, then probably these 80s ones, then this one, then followed by 70s is the last. That's my rating.
I said, you said, I said, we said, he said, and she said. And how come I don't know what to say when you're looking at me in that way? I'd say I'm lying if I said, hey, good day, but no way.
Thanks for watching.